Hello beer tubers and welcome to yet another Throwback Thursday with me, Peter, the Master of Hobbits. Today joined by Brett of Animices. It's a partial Throwback Thursday because we got a new beer we haven't tried before, but it's a throwback because we got more Fullers. As I said in my review of the Fuller's ASB, I got a few Fuller's releases online to check out and revisit because I felt like it because I missed some of these classic beers that I got into and I thought they'd be fun to revisit. And
it's an old school Thursday.
Yes. And the fun thing is, the ESB really held up, even though it was a Sahe bought. So I'm hoping this will be the case with these.
Yeah.
So
when did they get bought up from Asahi?
I think it was last year, right?
Okay, so
maybe it was 19.
Okay, because this maybe was brewed then before.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure if that's the reason why that's bottle conditioned and this is not.
Okay. Yeah.
Not entirely sure, but we're revisiting the iconic Fuller's London Porter. I have drunk a lot of this before this, back in the day before I got into all the American stuff. This and Deep Porter. This was the more easygoing one.
I don't think I've had a lot of that, but I've definitely had it a few times before getting into the whole
American
and Belgian. I firstly tried all the British stuff, then the Belgian, and then the American.
Yeah, for me it was also, English or British, and then Belgian, and then also a little bit of German, mainly Weissbier.
Of course. Yeah, okay. I also drank a lot of Weissbier along with the Belgian stuff.
But we got the classic Fuller's London Porter, and we're going to try the Imperial Porter. Yes. The limited edition version they did, bottle conditioned, 10%, just a ramped up, stronger version of the iconic classic.
More or less same ingredients.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is also, to my memory, benchmark English style classic porter. The style originated in London. Fuller's is from London. They're right on the River Thames. It's a brewery that has had porters working for them.
Yeah.
This is one of the places where this style came to be. I don't think you can really coin the inventor of porter being Fuller's, but it was. A lot of these historic beers, there isn't really the exact brewery that invented it. A lot of it kind of grew together. Yeah. There's, for example, with the story of IPA, it's not because a beer needed to go India. It was a change in the brewing landscape.
An analog world, so where everything was written down on paper. And, you couldn't really,
what's amazing
record everything.
True. But what is amazing with Fuller's is that a lot of their history is recorded in books, at least the brewing logs. That's why they did the Past Master series.
Yeah.
But the porter is 5.4%, and the malts are pale ale malt, crystal light, brown malt, and chocolate malt, and the hops are Fuggles.
Yeah. So same with this one, just imperialized.
Yes, exactly the same. And for some reason, it also has Saaz hops. So maybe they felt it needed a little bit of bitterness or pepperiness or something to stand up to the bigger edition of caramel malts. So let's start off here with the classic.
Yeah.
5.4% porter. Let's see
if I can
figure out.
Bit of licorice and nuttiness from here.
Yeah, actually
maybe dates too.
Yeah, this is definitely the regular version. So it is not pitch black. No. It's black, but it's only 5.4%.
It has this chestnutty, brownish note.
It really looks like what porters look like if you go get classic porters on cask.
Yeah.
Because they are often not pitch black.
No.
But the big iconic thing with also a lot of porters is, historically, a lot of porters in London didn't have roasted barley. That is, with the dry stout of Ireland and all that stuff that was added. Yeah. So it's the chocolate malts that are lighter in their roast. And then, again, the British are very well known for great crystal malts. Yeah. So some of that in there. But it looks, as you said, chestnutty brown, but if you just hold it like here, it looks black.
On camera, it looks probably more or less black.
And then a lightly beige head.
Yep.
Let's see about the aroma.
Ooh.
Wow, very classic. And it has...
Super nutty.
Super nutty. A little bit of butterscotch in there.
Yeah.
Caramel. A good amount of caramel.
Yeah.
And then coconut nibs.
Like a butterscotch thing.
It's like a butterscotch caramel. Coconut, for sure.
Yeah. Almost like caramelized walnuts and...
Yeah.
Like a hazelnutty thing.
But the chocolate malt presents itself with somewhat of a roasted character. Do you know what it actually almost reminds me of?
Coconut thing,
It almost reminds me of the Whiplash Baltic Porter, but with ale esters. Because that was also like chocolate malt one.
Yeah, but that one had just a touch of like a smoke tobacco thing.
Just a little bit, yeah. This is
and this one doesn't have that.
Not in the same way, at least, because I could be persuaded to say that it has a little bit of that.
Yeah, maybe like also, a very sweet pipe tobacco.
Almost like a freshly baked rye bread or something.
Yeah,
like there's
I see more that like pumpernickel-esque thing, rye bread. Yeah,
and I think that's just a combination of chocolate malt and hops. Yeah, it smells very classically British.
And it smells like very freshly baked, if that makes sense. Like very fresh malts.
Yeah, super fresh and like freshly baked goods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells very nice.
It smells awesome.
Let's try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
I could drink a lot of that. Very impactful flavor for 5.5% beer.
I would actually say the aroma was, even more so. It's crazy how much aroma it carries compared to being 5.5. But I would still say the flavor is maybe more like a 6% beer.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to think as well, this is, in April it's a year old, this bottle. Yeah. Again, for some reason Fuller's is slowly phasing out of the Danish landscape. I think it's something to do with the import company, but the easiest thing to find right now are older bottles, and also the vintage limited edition stuff is pretty easy to find. But the regular releases are fading out of the picture.
But this is a very good porter. It's just super balanced also. Not too sweet, a bit nutty, a bit toasty, a bit dry.
Dry. Classic like dry English porter. And the fun thing is also, just like the ESB, it is just benchmark to style. It's just like that boost of approval. I will say though, the Teddy Porter from Samuel Smith might be a bit more strong in flavor profile than this, as far as I remember. Yeah. It's been a long time since I've revisited it, but I think we'll revisit that too at one point. But it's in that ballpark. There's a little bit of dark fruit. It's just a hint. The big player is more, nuts, as you say, and baked bread and all this.
And the rye bread-esque thing. And I would say that the dark fruitiness of it is like dates, because it has that dry dark fruit. Yeah. It's not as sweet as raisins.
No, and it's lighter than the dark fruit flavor. But also, butterscotch toffee, it has that quintessential, slightly diacetyl butterscotch thing that is acceptable in the British styles. Like if you want to educate yourself on classic brewed porter, this is, again, it's pretty dead on.
Yeah. And this just tastes like British porter.
Yeah, and it's so drinkable. But especially if you pick up something, let's say like this, or instead of picking this up, you picked up something from Marston's or something, you're gonna find something that's just so much more watery and more, like this actually has a medium, slightly slick yet dry mouthfeel.
Yeah, and
for 5%.
The flavors is for 5.5% is quite full bodied.
Yeah.
So
you can also almost see inspiration in this stuff with Ole and Ovo.
Yeah, with their porter.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's try and jump to the big boy here, the 10th or the 10% version. So this limited edition was inspired, of course, by their iconic beer. This is bottle conditioned, so it's supposed to developed in the bottle. And it says that it's inspired in the box. It says it's inspired by the London's most famous beer style, the Imperial Porter. Is an imperial strength take on the 19th century favorite. Blah blah blah. This is more complex malt the malt makeup make more complex flavors in this imperial version, so you get a bit of smoke and mocha-like flavors and stuff, compared to just like more boosted kind of flavors like that compared to their classic London Porter. And then what's not on the label online, there's also black treacle in here.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, it gives another caramelly layer, it says, and a bit more, velvety caramel to offset the hop bitterness.
Okay.
And I think they only brewed this. I'm not sure if they brewed it more.
It says it's a special edition, so maybe only once or twice.
I know they brewed the Imperials out a couple of times, but I wouldn't expect Fuller's to keep on brewing a lot of stuff like this now that Asahi owns them.
No.
I think it's going to be more core range focus, and then maybe vintage ale. I don't know. We'll see, but you can definitely see it's imperialized because it's definitely more black. Yeah. And the light doesn't penetrate the beer.
It's lightly brown in the bottom, but it's very, very light.
And the head is more tan and mocha looking.
And just a bit more creamy.
Yeah. Let's check out the aroma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Much more intense, almost milk chocolatey.
Yeah.
and more dark fruit, much more dark fruit.
Like, it's much more into that estery,
almost like wine gums. But again, it's got time to develop in the bottle, so that could have helped that. It's got like the blackcurrant wine gums. And like wine gummy flavor is something I often really associate with like the esters in British darker beers.
Yeah, I actually see that, you know, it almost has like a fresher dark fruity thing to it. Like, like blueberry, blackberry, blackcurrant-esque thing to it.
And then there's like the roasty, toasty, maybe more so toasty cherry malt than roasty. And then like it's coconutty, maybe a little bit more really chocolatey because there's more of the malt.
A touch of licorice.
And licorice for sure. And I think the treacle also helps with the licorice. And there's still some nuttiness. It's almost like kind of hazelnut stuff dipped in treacle or something.
Yeah.
But it's not that like insanely intense American approach. It's more like rounded, balanced approach.
I wish it had a bit more of the nuttiness from this one. But this, when you smell this, it smells so much lighter.
But I really think it's aged too. Because the aging, oxidizing, everything.
There is maybe a bit of aging in this one.
It still smells nice. Let's try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Much more impactful. Well, totally Bassett wine gum and licorice. And
it has this almost like cognac red wine about it.
I can see that totally. But I think it's just dryness from malt and esters because it's not barrel aged.
No. But it just has this...
Or port.
Also because it's a bit dry.
Yeah.
So that,
And that's the fun thing with a lot of these classic British interpretations or the classic versions of these styles. They're dry. They're not velvety and sweet.
No.
That's like the American approach, really. Unless it's like barley wine. And then again, a lot of old school English barley wine, they were sweeter, but they were also dry. But yeah, it's got a velvety, creamy mouthfeel like the regular version. It's just got a bit more heft to it. No alcohol warmth, really.
No. A bit of licorice. Yeah.
It's almost got more of a Tista Limfjordsporter live vibe. Because there's not exactly, but it's got the same kind of slightly. That one I think has more roasted malt.
Yeah,
but it has
like these heavier decadent flavors,
and a bit more charry. But this definitely has more of that char and like roast profile you want.
Yeah.
But then it like paired with that kind of best wine gum. And the interesting thing, because there's so much more of the
definitely more dark fruity.
Yeah, but what's interesting also because it's so much more roasty and everything, it's the butterscotch toffee from the diacetyl is not there at all in the Imperial version. It's
very light.
It kind of reminds me of something like a porter. You remember Luscious from Alchemist? It reminds me of something like that, but just, a porter that's a bit more dry.
Yeah. Luscious is also
very similar.
Yeah, and bitter, more bitter than this. Because it's an Imperial style.
But it's also sweet and velvety.
Yeah,
a bit more sweet. But
there's oats in that one too.
Yeah, but it's got a similar, yeast profile.
Definitely.
To something like this.
Yeah. There are definitely commonalities.
Very drinkable as well for like an Imperial strength beer. Again, just really well brewed classical beer. I think a lot of people will shy off from these, maybe more so the strong one, just because it's more dark fruity than the base. Because that's not what a lot of people want nowadays in stouts and porters. Personally, that's usually not what I want, but I really enjoy this still. I think it's brewed to a T in the classic sense, which is really enjoyable. I think I was a bit more fired up about the ESB than both of these, maybe because the ESB was originally my one of my all-time favorite beers.
Yeah.
But I still think these definitely merit around 90. I'm thinking straight 90 for both really because they're quite. Maybe a 91 for the Imperial version. I don't think you can really compare them that well. You can see similar flavor profiles, but they're quite massively different beers. And 5% does a lot. So
that's a big difference.
I'm still thinking around 90 because I think it's just benchmark of the classic British styles. Our take on the classic London porter.
Yeah, but it's really hard to grade these also because you can't really compare them because again the ABV is so different. But
I'd say around an 89 to 90 is pretty good. I'd probably say the 90 is for the Imperial Porter for me personally. I prefer that a bit more, especially going back to London, as you said. And then the 89 would be for the London Porter. But if I just had the London Porter on my own, especially if I just had it on draft locally, whatever, it'd probably be a 90. It's pretty benchmark stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of classic beer.
I probably agree. Again, I definitely enjoy the full-bodied flavor of this more now, but I really enjoyed this before. I like that this is more nutty and a bit more coconutty. Yeah. Then this is more dark fruity. I like the flavors more of this one, but I just wish it had more oomph of those flavors.
Impact, yeah. I think the big difference is the age and treacle. That makes it so different. Of course, also the addition of more ingredients, but Fun to revisit.
Absolutely.
Still have a bottle of their Golden Pride to try and the Vintage Ale Battle, which we'll do eventually. But if you guys recently had a chance to revisit Fuller's London Porter and Fuller's Imperial Porter, let us know what you thought of them. Really fun to revisit these. If you were into these classic British beers, I think you should try and revisit them. They're not as crazy and as intense as what we drink nowadays, but they were very well brewed and very drinkable beers that certainly deserve to be revisited. So if you had a chance to revisit these or just try them for the first time, let us know what you thought of them. As always, remember to comment, subscribe. Sorry for the long video, a lot of nostalgia rants and everything, but hope you enjoyed it. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page, Twitter, and Instagram. Ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And we're going to say cheers in classically brewed London Porter. And see you guys in another video. And happy Throwback Thursday. It was a Throwback Thursday episode. I totally forgot. Cheers.